us about it and how it will help all of us, especially those of us who are not realtors. And Burton, with that, I'm going to let you do the rest of your introduction, and I'm going to let you take it from there.
Well, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. And thank you guys so much for giving me your time. I won't try to bore you to death, hopefully, right? But I want to show you guys exactly what Propstream is about. For those that have used it, hopefully you can learn something new. For those that haven't, hopefully you can be exposed to what this application can do. So let me get my screen over to you guys. Now, I'm a visual learner, so let's start with that. This is what Propstream can do. It's a two-part system. I like to call it stage 1 and stage 2. So stage 1 is lead generation. So this is the assumption that you don't have a lead, but we need to go find a lead. And that lead generation is broken into 3 phases. Phase 1 is just build a list. So you can search in any market in the United States of America. We do not region lock you. You can filter either through our 18 categories that we have or use our 150 different filters to create your own list of buyers or motivated sellers. Then you can save your marketing list and export our data, which is going to give you the owner's name, property characteristics, loan information, ownership information, mailing address included. Now, phase 2 is getting contact information. So if you want to go to phase 2, just don't export in phase 1. But phase 2 is skip tracing. For those that don't know what that is, it's to get the address of motivated sellers and buyers in phase 1 and get a cell phone, a landline, or an email. And you usually get those results in about 15 minutes or less. So phase 1, you build your list. Phase 2, you skip trace it, you get your information, your contact info, and then you can export it out of our system. So not only are you getting the property characteristics and the owner's name, but you're also getting the contact information with your export. Or you can leave it in there and take it to phase 3, which is direct marketing. You can build your lists, get your contact information, and then directly market to that list. So let's say we built a cash buyers list. We would then get their contact information. And in our marketing, we would be able to create a landing page for our cash buyers. Hey, cash buyers, I'd like to work with you. Send me your contact information. Or, hey, cash buyers, I have a contract for you. And once we create the landing page specifically for our cash buyers list, we then can send them a postcard directly from Propstream, a ringless voicemail, or an email. And then we can repeat the process, because then our next list would be a pre-foreclosure list, right? Search, filter, save your list. You can then get their contact information and then market to your pre-foreclosure list. And when you create another marketing campaign, you'll get another website for your next list. So that way you have a website for your cash buyers, and then your next marketing campaign, when you create the website, you get a website for your pre-foreclosure list or your senior owners list or tax delinquency lists. Then you can send postcards right after that, ringless voicemails and emails. So you can continue this cycle repetitively. Now, assuming that you're building leads in Propstream or doing it manually, stage 2 is also provided for you, which is property analyzing, to search an individual property and find the opportunities. What we do, which is what we're known for, is to get as much data on an individual property and show it to you all in one user interface, one page, called our property details page. That's our bread and butter. Now, on that same page, you'll be able to run comps using public records or MLS records, and then print those comps reports with photos included. So if you picked out a comp with photos, the photos will be on your report. Now, we do have some additional features like team members, the mobile application, List Automator, which is an add-on that lets you import into Propstream and get our data. It also automates your filters, meaning you never have to search a list again. You can search a list and then send it to List Automator, and we'll automatically add properties for you that meet your criteria going forward. So it's a really cool system. It also monitors what's been saved. And so if anybody that no longer meets your criteria, we'll let you know to remove it as well. So this is just kind of what our system can do in its totality. I won't be going through everything in detail, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understand what we have to offer. Now, this is Propstream. When you first log in, we're going to capture your internet address and zoom in on your market. I'm in Southern California, but you can, again, search anywhere nationwide. Now, when you subscribe with Propstream, first off, you get a 7-day trial period. Now, there is a subscription link I would like for you guys to utilize we've been able to provide you guys a discount. So make sure you guys sign up with that. But not only do you get a discount, you do get 7 days to try it out as well. So it's in the chat box. I went ahead and put that in there. But when you're in the trial period, or when you're an official subscriber, if you are an official subscriber, you get 10,000 records you can export out of our system every month, or market to every month. But this is what our business is, right? So I'm in Southern California, but this is what we've been doing for 15 years. We go into a market. Let's just choose, let's say here, let's choose, yeah, Lexington, Kentucky. Never been. So we go into a market and we collect the parcels of an area, right? The tax parcel, are these little squares. And then what we do is we then get with the nationwide repositories of data out there, right? The pre-foreclosure record keepers or collectors, the cash buyer collectors, the county offices, the MLS boards, the lien holders. So you can see a few of them here at the top, right? Beginning with like MLS listings and pre-foreclosures with an auction date, and bank owned, otherwise known as foreclosures. We have non-owner cash transactions. We have involuntary liens, vacant listings from the postal office, and high equity properties. But what we do is we take the parcel, which what we started with in 2005, 2006, and when you click on it, we take all of these records and isolate it onto this individual parcel. So this parcel is now going through every one of our different record keepers, essentially. And so that way, when I go into the details of the property, this is what we're known for. This is our bread and butter. This right here is pretty much stage 2. I just randomly clicked on a property in Lexington, Kentucky, and then now I'm in the property details where I can find opportunities. Now, what you're going to see first and foremost is photos of the property. If the property is on market or has been on market, you'll see photos that you can click on and go through, see the condition of the property. Now, if the property is not on market, what's going to happen is you'll just get map view. Now, outside of the pictures is our dashboard. Here, we're going to show you the property characteristics, a summary of all of our records together, like whether it's on or off market, if it's distress, in an HOA, the type of owner, length of ownership, estimated values, if there's an open mortgage on the property, the comps that you have available to you to run through, the estimated equity, the monthly rent and gross yield, if we can calculate it, and then the last public record sale. Now, this is just the dashboard. This is just what we believe to be relevant information for you to utilize. Because the idea is that you're talking to a homeowner right now, right? In this case, we're talking to Lindsay, right? Lindsay's the homeowner, so we're talking to her. We're trying to make her an offer. Have all of her property and situational and financial data on one page, right? And that's why on this outline here, I put a bunch of asterisks on this finding opportunity, because the opportunity doesn't have to be a vacant property. It doesn't have to be a pre-foreclosure. It doesn't have to be a lien. It doesn't have to be a divorce. It could be the year built on that property. It could be that there's 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So that's about 4 people in the house, right? Mom and dad in one room, brother and sister in the other 2 rooms, all sharing 1 bathroom. That could be a headache. It could be that they're in an HOA environment and the HOA is getting on their case, right? It could be that they have an open mortgage. The balance is really high, right? Maybe the price of the market is really good. Now would be a time to sell. There's so much opportunity, but this is what we're known for, to get all the different data that's out there from many different collectors and put it together on one platform for you. So here again is our dashboard. It's just a summary of all of our data that's down below, beginning with property details, ownership info, property characteristics, land location, tax information, HOA information. We show you any, again, situational data. In this case, this property was on the market last year and it sold. That's where we're getting the 6 months of ownership here from. It sold back in August. It was on market for 54 days, but it sold for 192. We can see the agent's description, their listing history. And again, this is where we're getting the photos from, the MLS relationships that we've built nationwide. Now, we're also going to allow you to run comps on this property, right? What if the person is motivated to sell? I don't think this person is, because again, they just bought the property. But what if? What if they were interested in selling the property, right? Now, everybody has a different strategy. I get it, right? Whether you're going to offer them 70% of market value, 60%, 90%, or do some sort of creative seller financing strategy, you still need to know what it could sell for you to even begin your calculation, right? So if you're going to get it at 70%, well, what's 100%? And that's our comparables and nearby listings section. Once you click on that, the whole bottom half changes, and it allows you to run comps using public records, which is records recorded at the county, MLS records, which is records we've sourced from our local MLS relationship in this market, or use both of them side by side, right? And what's the difference between the two? Well, public records shows you everything. Shows you every situation, cash transactions, finance transactions, REO sales, and so forth. So just be careful when you're using public records, right? You don't want to use cash transactions because these are as is values, like this property that was bought for $20,000. Do you think that property was in rehab property? Probably not, right? So you just want to be careful. Now with MLS, the benefit there is photos, faster frequency. You're going to see records before the county even sends it over, but you're also going to be able to see dollar amounts. And this is important. Some of you guys might be in a non-disclosure state, doesn't show you the sell amount at the public record. Just tap into our MLS. You can see what it sold for because the agents are telling us. Again, we have different providers, so we don't just get county records. We do have MLS records as well, or both. Use both records side by side, and then you can filter your comps. Adjust the date range, add your bedrooms and bathrooms. So this property is a minimum 3 bedrooms, a minimum 1 bathroom. Maybe you're only looking for 3 bedrooms only, so put 3 in the max. No 4, no 5 bedrooms will show up. As for the 1 bathroom, maybe your buyer might want to put 2 bathrooms in there, right? So let's look for the 3 1s and the 3 2s just in case. Year built, square footage. What MLS status are you looking for? Preferably sold. What public record situation are you looking for? Preferably finance records. Do you want to include anybody buying more than 1 property or exclude them? Do you want to increase or decrease your distance? There's a lot of records in a half mile, so let's go to quarter mile instead. And then apples to apples. This is where everybody really kind of makes a mistake. We want you to make sure you're comping the right class. If it's a residential property, then comp residential. If it's a single family property, comp single family. Unless it's a condominium, then choose condominium. If not, again, just make sure you're comping the right property. And then you could even specify subdivision. But finally, you get your results on the right side. We don't just give you the comps, you have to run your own comps. And then ultimately, we want you to go through the photos, right? Was it a rehab property? You're looking for an after repaired value, right? So look for the photos. They're going to tell you whether the property was rehabbed or not. So that's the idea with running comps on a specific property. I randomly clicked on this property, have all the financial, situational, and the property details. I can now run comps on it if the person's interested, use filters, select the comps that I want. So I'm just going through random comps here. Bad example of running comps. I mean, I would really pay attention to photos and all that good stuff, but just kind of running through it really quick. But what we finally let you do is go to actions in the comp section and view a comps report. What that does is it takes the comps that you've selected and generates a PDF file, which includes photos and an analysis of the comps that you've selected. So when you're talking to the homeowner face to face, or when you send it over to your buyer after locking up the contract, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see the subject property, its characteristics, your comps criteria that you apply, just so they know that you did your job. But we don't give them an ARV. We give them a range. We don't lock them, right? You anchor lock them with the price, then that's the ROI they think they're going to make, right? So what we say is based on the data we've selected, properties are selling from 160 to 187, but on average 175. Now, who dictates the price? It's the buyer, right? Because depending on the type of rehab they select, it could be a great rehab, they could use granite, or they can use just regular material stuff, right? Where the comps are based to the subject property, the sources that you use to run your comps and their characteristics, and then a photo of each one of the comps. This is why I prefer you to select the photos, because that way when you talk to the homeowner face to face, you can say, well, look, here are what the comps are. And you can show them the interior photos. So if they're like, oh, I want full price, you can say, well, I'd love to give you full price, but your kitchen looks nothing like this kitchen right over here. And you're asking for more than what they sold their property for. And again, vice versa. You lock up the contract, your buyers are skeptical on your ARV. You let them know, well, hey, based on the data, it's selling from X to Y. I'll let you make the decision on whether this contract is worth your time or not. And you go from there. So that's the comping area. And to wrap it up, we give you tax information, the mortgage and transaction history, and the ability to purchase documents on the property. Now, that's just stage 2, right? But I wanted to show you guys what we've been doing for 15 years. That's what we've been conjuring. Whether it's that property, this property down the block, you can click on it, get into the details of that property, and then we're going to show you again the property details, financial details, and the situational details. But the first part is building a list, right? So let's show you that. So if I don't have a property to click on, how do I build a list of motivated sellers or buyers? Easy. You search a county, a city, a zip code. So let's start with the county. Let's go to a whole different area. Let's go to, let's say, Bexar County. I was reading about them in the news. So Bexar County, Texas. You search that county, and now I'm in the market. Now, rather than giving me a specific property's details, it's saying, hey, Propstream has collected over 600,000 records for you to go through. And if you'd like, you can go through every one of those records we've collected for you. All you have to do is just click on the address, and there you go. There's the property details. Now, I don't advise anybody to go through 600,000 records, but if you want, go for it. It's 50 per page. And as you can see at the very bottom, there's 13,000 pages you can go through. Now, your results are typically provided to you in a pick view. You can click list view to the right of it. And then we also have spreadsheet view right over here. It's a very powerful option because this allows someone to go, hey, I'd like to see all the pre-foreclosure. So once you search a county and we've categorized those 600,000 records for you, you could say, I'd like to see all the pre-foreclosures, then go to spreadsheet view and organize them by, let's say, zip code. Which area has the most pre-foreclosure? So maybe that's an area we need to focus our efforts on, right? Or cash buyers. Which area in Bexar County had the most cash buyers by zip code? Spreadsheet view. And then now I can break them down by zip code, right? Whichever has the most zip code, that's where we put our efforts into, right? So by default, when you search a county, a city, or a zip code, this is what we give you, but you do have categories that you can individually select. But let me explain to you what we've designed our system to do. We understand there's the traditional method of searching for leads, but then I want you guys to see that there's a whole new method of searching for leads, right? The traditional method is to go into a county and go into our filter just to the right of that and choose one of our 18 categories. So you've seen the first 8, which I just went over. The others are free and clear, bankruptcy, divorce, tax delinquencies, properties being flipped, meaning they were bought and now back on market in less than 2 years, failed listings, something withdrawn or expired, senior owner, someone that is 25 years of ownership, has a senior owner tax exemption or reverse mortgage. Vacant land is just us cleaning county records. We made sure there's no building characteristics on these records. Fired landlords are non-owner occupied properties with 15 years or more in ownership, years of ownership. And then zombie properties are both pre-foreclosures and vacant together, sandwiched together. So the traditional method is to go to the county and then choose one of these lists, like the lien list. And the reason I say traditional is that's what we would have done before computers, right? Go to Bexar County, talk to the county clerk, like to get your lien records. Here you go, however format they give it to you, computer or printout or whatever. You would go into a corner and then start doing your filtering manually. We're doing that for you at just a faster rate. Once you select one of your 18 categories that you're interested in, here on the left-hand side, you have additional filters. If you want owner occupied, yes. Non-owner occupied, no. If you don't care, any. Right? Since we have vacant data, do you want them occupying the property or do you want them vacated? Nobody there answering the mail. Or if you don't care, both. Then you have property characteristics, which we went over in the details. So you can filter through those details, like whether it's residential or commercial, certain property types, bedrooms, bathrooms, year built, home features, unit, number of stories, whether it's in an HOA or not. So let's say I wanted a single family property that's in an HOA. I'm going to use that to talk to the owner. I'm like, hey, how's the HOA treating you? And the moment someone says, I hate them, that's the pain point. We're going to talk to them about that, right? So I can put myself in that position because we have the filters for you. The next one is MLS status. So now we can stack or suppress. So I want a lien that's on market, right? Because I want to deal with the agent. Who cares, right? And I want it active, or I want it on the market for a certain amount of days so we can negotiate like, hey, it's been on the market for more than 4 months, 120 days now. So I'm interested, but I'll give you 5% less than what you're asking for, right? Because clearly in the last 4 months, no one's biting. So you can use these filters to build your list. Now I'm stacking. I want a lien that's on market, or I can suppress. I want a lien that's not on market, which is what most of us are going to do because we want off market properties, right? But I do want you guys to think outside of the box. Besides saying liens on market, no, how about a lien that's not on market because it failed recently? Their agents told them, sorry, we can't sell it. And these are 256 property owners on our right-hand side here that got the bad news that a realtor couldn't sell your property, but maybe you can, right? So start building problems, and that's what our filters are designed for. But if you want to keep it simple, MLS on market, no, and we can move on to the next filter, which is the pre-foreclosure foreclosure filter. So again, we can look for a lien and stack a default on top of it, or an auction date on top of it, or release, or a foreclosure record, or stay away from those records. If you're in like Phoenix or a market that's overly saturated with investors always going after the pre-foreclosures like the defaults and auctions, then why don't you stay away from them, right? Exclude those foreclosure records. Let me deal with just the liens that haven't gotten there yet, right? So you can stack and suppress pre-foreclosure records just like you could with our MLS filter. Then we have ownership info, years of ownership. What type of owner do you want to deal with? Is it an individual or corporate owned property? Last sell date, last sell price. How many numbers of properties would you like this person to own? Right? Maybe you want someone to not only have a lien, but 4 other properties, because that could cause a domino effect. So let me help you with this property and your 3 other properties, right? Or a certain tax exemption status, or where the owner is located. Maybe they're out of state or out of county, local. And this is popular. Imagine out of state lien holders, or lien. So you're not even in the same state, and now you have a lien on your property, right? You're gonna have to come over and solve it, or do everything remotely, or let me just get this headache off your hands, right? So just building problems. So ownership info, and then we have the lien, bankruptcy, divorce filters. This allows you to target a lien, a bankruptcy, a divorce, anything that was released, anything that was dismissed. You can even specify your liens. You can even suppress. Let's say you've dealt with a bankruptcy or a divorce and it was a nightmare. So you can suppress bankruptcy records, suppress divorce records. For those that do want to specify or utilize these filters, we have recording dates for you, lien amounts you can specify, right? Like this person probably isn't as motivated as this 4,000 lien right over here on the right side. So what I could do in the filter is say, okay, I want a lien, not just any lien, but the tax liens, the ones that are really, really, really serious. And the lien amount needs to be 5,000 to not too much where the equity is going to be, compromised, but 5,000 to 20,000 max. That's what the lien amount I'm looking for. And now we have the 300 results that we're looking for. Next category would be valuation and equity info. Now you're using our algorithm, so you can look for estimated values of our calculation, our rent values, gross yield. The most common filter in this area is usually the equity amount, and it's usually the percentage option right over here, right? Because if we're wholesaling, we need to have equity for that assignment fee, or we're fixing and flipping. Unless you're doing something creative, then you can use our loan to value ratio filter. But if we're wholesaling, let's say we need a minimum of 30% or more in equity. And we have tax values you can search for. And finally, mortgage info. Because we collect financial data, mortgage information is one of them, right? So imagine a person having to pay a tax lien, and they also have a mortgage that they also need to pay for, right? So you're struggling to pay your mortgage, and all of a sudden you have a tax lien that you need to also pay, right? That could be just that boiling point to where these 100 properties now need to consider selling their property, right? So you have financial data, and you can search for balance amounts, loan to value ratio. You can even search for whether it was bought in cash or remove those records, whether it doesn't have a mortgage or remove those records, seller carry bet. All of this is for you to look for. So what I just did in a matter of a few moments is jumped into a county and built a list of liens that are off market, not in pre-foreclosure, but they have a $5,000 to $20,000 lien amount. So that right there, but I believe is going to cause a pre-foreclosure. If you don't pay that off, then yeah, they're going to go into foreclosure. So this is lead generation. This is all phase one. I searched, I filtered. Now I just need to save my lists, which is right over here. I can check off the results I individually want, or highlight all of them, or even filter. Show me numbers 1 through 30. Once I have those results, I can check them off, all 30 of them, and then hit add to list. And I can save it to an existing list or create a whole new list. So in this case, I can call it my Bear County liens and save it. Now I just saved 30 properties. You get 10,000. So still have 9,970 more to go. And you get 10,000 every month. And we don't count duplicates either. So if you save a property this month and you happen to save it again because it's in a different list next month, it doesn't count against you. But this is phase one. We searched, now we saved it. We just go to my properties. We find our Bear County liens. And once we have our list here highlighted in the center, we can check that off and export it. Or we can keep it in here and we can go further down in our toolbar and skip trace it. Our skip tracing is as low as 10 cents. If you skip trace it, you can skip trace your list and get the results. So once you have your list highlighted, you can get your results within about 10 minutes or less, right? So just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. Now, once you skip trace, your results are in the contacts page, highlighted here in the lower left-hand side under skip tracing. So think about that. You just built a buyer's list, a seller's list. Boom, you got their your marketing list saved. Now in 15 minutes, you can get their contact information, and your Vegas liens now have the phone numbers and emails associated to the homeowners. And you can highlight that and export that data. And that's phase 2. Build your list, get their contact information. We'll see you later. Or you can keep it in here and take it over to our campaign area. Our campaign area allows you to now start a whole new campaign. And you can have, as you can see here, as many campaigns as you like. So you can name it your Bear County campaign and choose any list that you've saved. It could be a specific property list, or it could be your buyer's list or a skip trace list. So you name your campaign, you choose your targeted recipients, and then your campaign is created and put amongst all the other campaign. And just like I mentioned, we know you're going to keep doing this again and again. So that's why we wanted to separate them. Like my auctions campaign here, I just clicked on, this one has 75 homeowners I'm targeting. And so my auctions campaign, just like I mentioned in phase 3, you get a landing page for them. So my landing page for these 75 people are right over here. It says, hey, I buy houses in cash. We close in 30 days because you're in an auction. So I get to create a landing page for my 75 homeowners in an auction. And then once that's done, I can send them a postcard, a ringless voicemail, or an email directly through Propstream. Once I do that, I can go back and search a new list, save it, skip trace it, wait for my results, go to the campaign. This could be a buyer's list. And now that I have a new buyer's list, there it is. My 17 cash buyers I need to market to. And their website says something entirely different. It says, hey, cash buyers, how would you like to make $200,000? Here's a contract for 400, rehab is this much, ARV is 650. And every website you create gets a free website or an application. That's the idea. We don't want you to go to like these other web providers and create multiple different websites, or have to create one generic website that has to address all these different situations. This allows you to speak directly to those 17 homeowners, or 17 cash buyers, or 28 tax lien owners, and so forth. And then send them a postcard, voicemail, or email. So that's Propstream. Now, before I let you guys go, just want to let you guys know that our filtering does allow you to do the traditional method, which is to go in a market instead of like Bear County, maybe Miami, Florida, and choose a list and build upon that. But we've been in this for 15 years that it's never been about a list. It's always been about generating problems, and in this sense, building a problem and solving it. So for a long time, we've always allowed people to never choose a list. And what we've designed to do, and I showed you all the data, right? You can just treat this like a buffet, right? Like when you go to McDonald's, for example, you have to choose a number. But when you go to like a Las Vegas buffet, have fun, choose whatever you want. And that's what our filters are designed. You can either choose one of the categories we're providing you or keep it blank and go into Miami and just start building your own lists, right? Like I want vacant properties that are single family, they're off market, they're owned by a person who lives in a different state. So that's two problems. It's vacant, it's not cash flowing, you're in a different state. And the final problem is you have an existing mortgage still on that property. So it's not cash flowing, you live in a different state, and you have a mortgage you're paying on every month while it's not cash flowing. And I found 13 unique properties in that situation. And again, I didn't choose a list, right? So that's what's cool about our system is that there are leads out there. And I know for a fact, I've been working with Propstream and investors like yourself for the last 8 years that it's not just a list. I've heard stories that left and right that people will sell properties because they're in an HOA or because they have a mortgage or because it's not cash flowing, or in this case, vacant with the mortgage. I've even seen some fun ones where like someone has looked for senior owners, but they'll go into property characteristics and look for like two-story buildings, right? Senior owners in a two-story building, or senior owners in a big one last year that are out of state, right? This pandemic till this very day has impacted the senior owners. So imagine a senior owner who's in a different state, right? Have they visited their property? And if not, what's your plan on that property? Especially if it's a senior owner in out of state and the property's just been sitting there vacant for a while. 31 vacant out of state properties, right? So that's what our platform is designed to do. Analyze specific properties, run comps, and print that report out. Essentially talk with confidence when you're talking to the owner. Find those opportunities through the financial, property, and situational data. And then we have the lead generation part. Search a county, a city, a zip code, filter through our 18 categories and refine that, and then skip trace it and market to it. Or just go into a market and use our 150 filters to just generate your own problem. And as a cherry on top, we've given you guys our mobile application as well. So this is our mobile application. It comes with your subscription, but it's just our data on the go. So same username and password, but you could search an address, you can search an APN, or maybe you went down a neighborhood and you have no idea where you're at. So geolocate. Geolocate lets you tap on a parcel and get the data of that property. So you tap on a parcel, you can now go into the details and see all the data we just went through, right? The photo, if there's any, the details down below, like the property details, the tax information, transaction history. You can run comps on the go, same public records, same MLS records. And what's cool about this is you can talk, imagine you're face to face with the owner. I want to buy your property. Well, what is it that you're offering? Well, let me take a look at the comps in the market, and you can show them the photos of the properties. You can say, hey, I'd like to buy your property, but this is what full price looks like, right? So you can show these homeowners face to face. But the idea that we took is that you're either there and you need to build credibility. So you need all this data to talk with confidence and run comps to get an ARV. But then you need the opportunity. Do they have a mortgage? Do they have equity? But what if the homeowner's not there? Well, then we have other tools like the ability to skip trace, send a postcard from the app, purchase any other documents on the property, even get directions to the property if you need to. So this is what Propstream has to offer. But again, we would love for you guys to try it out. There's a 7-day trial period to it. The mobile app is part of the subscription. There's no additional fees to getting the mobile app. The only things that are additional are the skip tracing, the postcards, ringless voicemails, and emailing, and then the list automator feature, which is a feature that lets you import into Propstream and get our data. So you can take a 4-year-old list and get it refreshed. You could take an outside list and code it with our data that they don't have. Like if they don't have equity data, we can give you our equity data on top of their records. And the automation, build a list and then let list automator going forward, add and remove properties that meet or no longer meet your criteria. So that's what we have to offer. And I do want to thank you guys for your time. I hope you guys at least try it out. But I do believe that if you use it correctly, you'll be able to find a ton of leads, especially if you're building problems and not just going after lists like I was showing you guys a few moments ago. So thank you guys so much.
All right, Burton, we have a question for you. The question is, does this site show rents?
Michael, if you're referring to rental price on individual properties, it's a calculation. And if you're referring to rental prices as just like rental listings, yes. So let me show you both rather than just talk through it. So in Propstream, you can click on a property right over here on the right hand side, and we will calculate what we believe the monthly rent is of that property or this unit or excuse me, condominium. Now, if you're wondering, well, how are we calculating that data? It's because we have MLS data. Now, the thing about the MLS data is it's everything that either is sold, is on market, but we do have rental listings in here. It's just we don't have a filter in our MLS status that says rental yes, because sometimes these counties are, all these MLS boards are different. Sometimes they don't let us know that it's a rental or not. So here's how you can find a rental listing in PropStream. You just go into a market, go into our filter, go into MLS status, and go into listing amount and look for a cap. So let's assume that rental listings in Miami don't go beyond $7,000 a month. So I'll put $7,000 as the max listing price. And now, as you see, my results are 674 out of the 10,000 MLS listing that there are out there. And as you can see, they're still active, but you can see their listing prices are kind of odd. You're like, well, why are they 1,800? Someone's selling their house for 2,300 bucks. I'll buy it. No, that's not the case. When you go into that and you go into the details, you'll see that this is a rent category, right? So in theory, I can run a rental comp in Miami. For example, I want to see what a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property would rent for in Miami. I would search Miami, go into the filter, apply those characteristics, all right? So single family, 3-bedroom. So I'll put 3 and 3 in the minimum max, bathroom 2 and 2. And then I would go into the MLS and say 7,000 or less. So now here are the 42 properties that are listed on the market as a 3-2 bedroom. And when I click on this property as a 3-2, 1,400 square footage and click on it, I can see what the agent has valued this property for on a monthly basis. So in theory, you can do that, or you can again hit the spreadsheet view right over here, and you can see list price. So you can see, okay, this 3-2 is listed for 3,200. This 3-2 is listed for 2,100. So you can build your own range in theory, or as I said, organize it by zip code, right? Break me all the rental listings by zip code that are 3-2s. And right now I can see, okay, all the 3-2s and 3-3-1-2-5 usually rent out between, these are not enough to even generate a comp. So that's not a good example, but you guys get the idea, right? Like you're able to use our data because of the complete manipulation. Again, I didn't choose a list, just the complete, I want to do this one day and come up with your 42 results to calculate what your rental value could be or whatever other calculation or strategy you're looking to implement. So the answer is yes, Michael. Rental data in the details itself and rental data in our MLS category that you can filter through. You're welcome, Michael.
Any other questions? Wow, Burton, you just got me thinking about all the things I want to look up now.
Yeah, you know, guys, I'm going to tell you to have fun. Like, Vicky, I hate to go crazy. I'm so passionate about this, but I think what we forget is that, you know, the whole reason we're even here, or you guys are here, because I don't do this, you guys are in the trenches. You guys are solving problems. And again, sometimes they're not a category. And here's one, a young lady in North Carolina shared with me, I fell in love with. you know, she would go into her market, Charlotte, North Carolina, and what she was doing there was not pulling a list. She was just looking for single family properties that have 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. And they were owned by an individual for several years, 10 years, right? And the reason she went after this list is she called it the double listing list. And I didn't get what she was saying. She said, well, here's an example, Burton. If these properties are 3 bedrooms and 1 bathrooms, and she was a realtor, you could be a wholesaler. I can only imagine too, this would work. But she would lock up the property or get it listed as a 3-1. And then she would tell all her buyers, hey, buyers, I got a 3-1 listing today. And those buyers would buy it fast because they're going to put a second bathroom in there and get, you know, more on their return. So she would lock it up, let's say in January. Her buyers would close it in February. They would work on it for 3 to 4 months and then call her back and say, thank you. Can you list our property for us since you gave us this listing, right? And I thought that was just, oh my God. I was like, that is freaking genius.
That is genius.
So she was a realtor, just as a stipulation there. So that's what she was doing with us. She was just saying, I love that your system allows me to just isolate situations other than going after all the liens. Because like right now, same filters, but because I chose a lien, we're down to 7 results. Because I chose vacant, we're down to 110. But when I don't choose a list, we have 6,000 potentials, right? So that's what I really want to emphasize, guys, is that you want to think outside of the box, build problems. It also can apply with like cash buyers. I hear it all the time. Man, I'm looking for some really good cash buyers. I showed you one filter that was big, and that's the numbers of properties owned. So now you can say, hey, I want a cash buyer in Charlotte, North Carolina, but that cash buyer needs to own maybe 20 properties to 50 properties in their portfolio. And he or she is just a person, not a corporation. Because of these properties right here that I click on, and Celio Rodas here, who buys properties in cash, he's the guy I want to talk to because he's buying properties under his name. These are all the properties, right? It's a great way. Again, it's all about manipulating data. So if there's anything you learned from me today, even if you're not using Propstream, is I want you to start looking at these filters that are provided to you, whether it's from Propstream or these other providers, and start looking at it as, how can I build a problem with it, right? Something unique, something that other people aren't thinking about, and go after that. And that should hopefully open up a whole different avenue of new leads, things that, again, people aren't looking for. So thank you again, Vicki, for your time.
So, well, all right, you guys, I promised to have everyone out of here at 6:45. So we are going to call it an evening. Burton, this was absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much. You all have, I actually had to step away and answer the door. Did you give them all of the contact information and everything they need?
I did, but there might be some late arrivers here, so, or someone that might have disconnected. So the link to try out Propstream for 7 days is in the chat box. Make sure you guys try it out. If you have any questions, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, our customer support is there. If you're already using Propstream, there's a help section on the left-hand side. So don't hesitate to reach out. Don't ask Vicki any questions about Propstream. Make sure you guys address us. We'll take care of you guys. But with that said, no, I can't thank you guys enough for investing your time with me. And thank you for doing what you're doing and solving problems out there. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you guys at the end of the day.
Thank you, Burton. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe night and be careful tomorrow.
Take care.